Here's your homework read aloud for this week. Focus. Understanding how the brain works. Riddle. What's the size of a grapefruit, weighs 3 pounds, and contains 10 to 50 billion cells, each of which sends 50,000 messages per minute? Answer, read on. If you think the answer is a computer, you are close. Actually, it's the computer you carry around with you every day, your brain. Experts see many similarities between the command center in your head and the digital box you may have in your home. But nothing can beat the brain for its blockbuster powers. That sounds like a positive word. Blockbuster. So I'm going to circle it and use my strategy of deciding that this is positive, and then I'm going to think to myself, what could go there? So nothing can beat the brain for its really awesome powers. So that seems like it could fit. Let's read on and see if it works. It may be only the size of a grapefruit and look like a wrinkled blob of pinkish gray jelly. Oh, I see a like there. So I'm going to put a simile just to remind me, because I see that the brain is being compared to jelly. But the brain has amazing abilities. If you give it proper care, it can often achieve great things. So here I see blockbuster, and then I see that it has amazing abilities and great things. So maybe blockbuster means amazing abilities. That seems right. What's on your mind? The brain is constantly remaking itself. For instance, when the brain analyzes new information, it compares it with what it has learned. The process forms new connections or new pathways in the brain. The brain is constantly remaking itself. I'm going to put a connection here because this reminds me of how people remake themselves at... This reminds... me of... And then for me, this reminds me of how people want to remake themselves when there's a new year, of new year, new me. That just kind of reminds me of the brain remaking itself all the time. All right, make sure that you're on the top of page 2, ready to follow along. Memory and learning. There are about 500 trillion possible connections among the neurons of the brain. 2 processes are responsible for using these connections: memory and learning. For example, when you learned the multiplication tables, you created certain connections in your nervous system. I'm going to put a connection here because I know my multiplication facts. Or you might be working on those with Mrs. Haley or Miss Atala. So that could be your connection. The more you practice multiplying, the faster and smoother those connections became. The hippocampus, part of the brainstem, also helps you learn or remember. It changes short-term memories, memories of things that happened a couple minutes ago, into long-term memories that are kept for years. That's why you still may be able to remember the day you learned to ride a bicycle. If you learn to ride a bicycle and you remember that day, that would be a great connection to put here. Emotions. The brain also files away learned emotions, such as anger and pleasure. Parts of the temporal and frontal lobes help us recognize danger and experience fear. When this happens, the brain sends out a fight or flight message to the body, and stress hormones start preparing you for action. Pain. The brain takes charge of pain too, but not in just one area. That's because pain is a complicated sensation. Sensation is a funny word to me. We're talking about pain, so that doesn't seem like a good word. I'm going to put a negative. Maybe a complicated feeling? It depends on a combination of memories, attitudes, and emotions, and these important files are located in different parts of the brain. Scientists don't completely understand how the brain handles pain signals. They do know that the ouch effect varies from person to person. In other words, your reaction to pain may differ from that of your best friend. This is true even though your bodies release the same pain-relieving chemicals called endorphins. They may particularly explain why some athletes continue to perform even though they sprain an ankle or break a bone. I'm going to ask a question here. Why do some people, and this seems to be the same question scientists are asking, why do some people not feel as much pain as others? Photos and faces. Even after you're fully grown, your brain will continue remaking itself. Scientists know the brain is a work in progress. They know this thanks to high-tech imaging technologies such as magnetic resonance imagery, MRI, and positron emission tomography, PET. The MRI snaps detailed pictures of the brain. The PET scan reflects brain activity. Recently, experts at the National Institute of Mental Health discovered that the age of 11 to 12 is a good time to learn loads of new skills in areas such as language, math, and music. So some of you guys would have a connection because you're close to 11 or 12, so it would be a good time for you to learn language, math, or music. Being able to handle math doesn't mean the maturing brain can handle everything. The brain has to prune or throw out certain useless connections, so it's not always able to interpret situations correctly or make good calls, and the pruning process is not complete until early adulthood. That means teenagers and younger kids may have some problems making decisions and coping with certain emotions such as anger. So some of you might have a connection here or a question, something about how when you're really angry you have a hard time making decisions, or something about why do people have a hard time making decisions when they're that angry. Even reading facial expressions can be hard for many teens. A study of Massachusetts teens showed this. The teens could not tell whether someone's face showed anger or fear, and recognizing the difference is crucial information when you're trying to react properly to someone. I'm going to circle crucial, and I'm not quite sure if that's positive or negative yet. Crucial information, because it sounds like this is really important. So I'm going to circle that. I'm going to go on to the next page. I'm so sorry. Looks like my copy wasn't stapled well. Make sure that you're on the top of this page that starts with, "It takes time." It takes time and lots of work for young brains to mature. Some of that work is accomplished during sleep. The brain eliminates certain information stored in its short-term memory. Without enough sleep, the brain can't do this job. That's why younger kids and teens should not shortchange themselves on sleep. I'm going to ask a question here. How much sleep should I get? So you might have that question too, or you might already know and put that as your connection. Problems and progress. As with every other part of the body, the brain can develop problems. These include tumors, strokes, mental retardation, headaches, and Alzheimer's disease. Fortunately, science is finding ways to help more people prevent or recover from brain diseases. Experts now know people can help to create and recreate the shape of their brain. A recent study showed that kids with reading problems can often retrain their brain through special word games, and people who suffer strokes can often relearn to walk. Other parts of the brain can take over the functions the damaged parts used to perform. Different physical and surgical therapies help to make this possible. Take Brandy, a young girl with severe epilepsy, brain seizures. Doctors removed a large part of Brandy's brain to reduce the number of seizures, and they did this without Brandy losing important abilities. Her brain created another nerve path, so she relearned how to eat, speak, and move like other kids. I'm going to circle seizures because I'm not quite sure what that means, but that doesn't sound like a good thing because they're having to cut out part of her brain. Brain boosters. To make the best of your brain cells, here are some tips on taking care of your command center. Eat a healthy, well-balanced diet based on the food guide pyramid. A recent study of English girls found that dieting lowered their IQs. The teens did not get enough iron-rich foods such as nuts, lean meat, and leafy green vegetables. So I'm going to put a question here. Is dieting only bad in teens or for everyone? because it sounds like while your brain is growing, it's super important. Exercise regularly. You need to refresh and re-energize your brain with enough oxygen. Swim, bike, play team sports, or just go for a walk in your neighborhood. Some of you would have a connection here because you play sports, or you walk around your neighborhood, or you ride your bike to school. Sleep 8 to 10 hours every night. Your brain needs this downtime to carry out its task. Do not use drugs or alcohol. New studies say that kids and teens who abuse alcohol or use other drugs may damage their brain. This damage can lead to memory loss when they're older. Drink fewer caffeine-containing beverages, such as colas. They can cause you to feel anxious and irritable. They are also addictive. Ooh, Miss Barrick might need to make a connection here. Maybe I should stop drinking Coke. Listen to the music you enjoy. It relaxes the nerves. Now experts say it may also increase your math abilities. Researchers recently found that second graders who received piano lessons did better on a math test than kids who didn't get music lessons. Keep learning new things. Reading a lot today can improve your memory as you grow older. Find interesting hobbies, join school and community clubs, and reach out to people and places. So some of you might have a connection. Maybe you're in a community club like NASA or Nations, or maybe you are part of the Sunshine Committee. Maybe you have hobbies, or you're a part of a church or a mosque. And those things can all help you remember as you get older. And maybe some of you like to read, and you could put your favorite book right there. Work at staying emotionally healthy. Depression, anger, and anxiety can harm your brain. So can the stress hormones your body releases. Turn back this way to protect yourself. Protect yourself from head injuries. Wear a helmet that fits properly during sports activities such as rollerblading and bicycling. The helmet should be approved by a national agency such as American National Standards Institute. Also, wear your seatbelt in the car. Car crashes account for 44% of all brain injuries, says the Brain Injury Association. Dive only in the deep ends of pools and stay away from guns. Make time for relaxation. Close your eyes and do nothing for a few minutes each day. I'm going to ask a question here. How much time should I relax? That seems like good advice. Avoid pesticides and other harsh chemicals. Wash fruits and veggies well before eating them, or buy organic foods. Take precautions when getting rid of dangerous chemicals, such as household cleaners. Precautions. It sounds like I'm not quite sure if that word is positive or negative. Maybe I can figure out what I need to do based on the words around it. So poisonous fumes can harm the brain. So it seems like we're getting rid of those chemicals. So maybe taking careful. So I know pre means before and caution means careful. So being really careful when you're getting rid of chemicals. So taking care of it before it becomes a problem. Cut back on TV so that your brain won't become a couch potato. Learn how to prevent brain injuries. Suggest to your principal that your school becomes a Head Smart school. You and your classmates will get a one-day program on how to prevent brain injuries. For more information, check out www.biausa.org or write to the Brain Injury Association, and then they have their address. You may also call the Brain Injury Association's Family Helpline, and then they have their number. The brain is constantly developing and maturing. Your brain will continue to steer you in the right direction if you respect it and its ability to grow and change. So I'm going to put a connection because I'm still learning and growing, even as an adult. So I know that my brain is doing that. All right, that's your read.